What are the benefits of having a symbiotic relationship with a spirit? Zhuang Xiaoran unexpectedly grew a tail. After several attempts by her to probe it, Zhuang Xiaoran discovered that she could actually control this tailbone. With only the strength of this tail, Zhuang Xiaoran can be considered a B-rank Yogui spirit. Not only can Zhuang Xiaoran control it, but it will also protect her automatically. This can only be considered as a lucky gain after an unfortunate event for her. After mastering the manipulation of the coccyx, coupled with observations of Tang Ka, Zhuang Xiaoran unexpectedly harbored the idea of joining the Yogui City Division. This made Tang Ka feel a headache just at this moment. Tang Ka received a message from Han Longkui on his phone and found out that all his tasks had been terminated. A sense of loss surged in his heart. At this moment, Zhuang Xiaoran unexpectedly had the idea of taking on private gigs. Take charge of receiving orders personally, then split the payment for eliminating monsters with Tang Ka on a 70/30th basis. Zhuang Xiaoran is leaving crazy messages in the supernatural forum. Collect information. And so, the two became partners in handling private jobs. I didn't expect that early the next morning, a big order came in. The client seemed very anxious and had already sent someone downstairs to meet Tang Ka and the other person. But the person in front of them was covered in dust, which surprised Zhuang Xiaoran. The two people with scarred faces, looking serious, involuntarily made Zhuang Xiaoran think of the Red Wedding. The atmosphere in the luxury car was particularly oppressive. The two bodyguards remained silent, with serious expressions on their faces. Zhuang Xiaoran was also extra cautious, closely watching the person in front of him. At this moment, Tang Ka did seem very relaxed. He turned to Zhuang Xiaoran and asked, "Can you also sense it?" They are both Yogui spirits. After listening to Tang Ka's words, Zhuang Xiaoran also confirmed her thoughts in her heart. She thought she was just seeing things when she saw two ghostly figures just now. Tang Ka was somewhat surprised at this point, saying that his ocular arts could only distinguish Yogui spirits based on the color of their spirit aura. He didn't expect that you could actually see their true forms. Perhaps it's the humanoid Xiao within you. It can really help you become part of the Yogui City Division. After a short car ride, the two arrived at the entrance of a luxury mansion. The tall gates clearly displayed the owner's power. While in the car just now, Tang Ka used ocular arts to survey. The two bodyguards' spirit aura have both reached the A level. If it's just for pick-up and drop-off, it might be a bit of overkill. At this point, Tang Ka had realized that these two people would definitely harm him. Sure enough, the two had already taken off their expensive suits, revealing their muscular bodies full of scars. The boss's intention is that as long as Tang Ka can make them surrender within 5 minutes, he will be qualified to see him. Politely asking Zhuang Xiaoran to step aside, please. Two monsters, spirit Yogui, revealed their true form, their eyes glaring with hostility. The fierce charging wolf, with cyan facial markings and sharp fangs, appeared in front of them. The environment was filled with a fierce and savage aura. One of the charging wolves dashed forward and charged towards Tang Ka. In the blink of an eye, the ground cracked and debris flew up. It was evident that these two Yogui spirits possessed outstanding speed and strength. Tang Ka took the opportunity to leap into the air, but Charging Wolf also seized the chance tightly. Two wolves, one in front and one behind. They formed an encirclement, making it difficult for Tang Ka in midair to avoid the attacks. But he remained calm and claimed that he had thought he could handle it with just his feet. But it seems that he underestimated the situation. Just as the words fell, Tang Ka, he pulled out the hands hidden in his trouser pockets. A sudden loud explosion sound rang out from the sky. How powerful is the golden radiance spell that Tang Ka uses? It's like an invisible wall that I cannot see. In the sky, Tang Ka loosened up and colorful lights cast numerous lingering shadows. The glaring light made Zhuang Xiaoran unable to open her eyes at all. She could only hear the sound of the light cracking through the air like a whip. Within just a few short seconds, the two charging wolves were covered in injuries. They roared and exerted all their strength as they once again encircled Tang Ka. But unexpectedly, Tang Ka's fist struck first, grabbing towards the heads of the two wolves. Even though the two wolves now had the thought of not wanting to fight, it was already too late. Tang Ka easily grabbed the heads of the two wolves and forcefully smashed them together. This blow made the two wolves see stars in their eyes and feel dizzy. They heavily fell to the ground and lost their combat ability. All this happened in the blink of an eye. Zhuang Xiaoran had no idea what was happening. The smoke cleared, and Tang Ka calmly asked Charging Wolf, "Have you surrendered?" Even though they have lost their fighting power, the Charging Wolf clan will never give up, roaring and shouting to fight again, even if there is only a glimmer of hope. Tang Ka, seeing the Charging Wolf's determination, earnestly threw a punch towards the Charging Wolf's head. In that moment, the Charging Wolf felt a chilling sensation. The pressure from this ordinary punch was enough to destroy a city. Unexpectedly, the momentum caused the Charging Wolf, who was still strong and resolute just a second ago, to directly back down. Zhuang Xiaoran, who was watching from the side, was also completely shocked. Only 5 seconds had passed since the fight started, and this fierce and evil person, oh no wolf, is now wagging its tail. It turns out that the two Charging Wolves had long heard that Tang Ka was very powerful. They planned to fight with their lives, even if they had to hold Tang Ka for 5 minutes. If successful, it would bring great honor to the Charging Wolf clan. But in the end, they were too naive. They didn't expect that they couldn't even last 5 seconds. At this moment, the two Charging Wolves deeply admire Tang Ka. They used the most solemn ritual within the clan to apologize to Tang Ka and beg for his forgiveness for their recklessness. At the same time, the manor's gate slowly opens to welcome the arrival of Tang Ka and the two individuals. Watching Tang Ka's back, Charging Wolf and the other person expressed their feelings of astonishment, saying that the two brothers had only thrown 3 punches at Tang Ka. But there is always a feeling that, although they hit him, it seems like they didn't actually make contact with his body. It feels as if there is an invisible wall protecting Tang Ka. They initially thought it was an illusion, but now it seems that Tang Ka's clothes are completely undamaged, just like the rumors say about this youth named Tang Ka. He is a mysterious monster. Tang Ka and Zhuang Xiaoran walked on the path in the manor. Zhuang Xiaoran couldn't help but ask, "Tang Ka, how old are you to be so skilled? Did your master teach you all his unique skills?" Just as the two were chatting, a black bean in the grass suddenly opened an eye. This person's swordsmanship is very meticulous. He can actually dismember a fly in an instant. Actually, today this order was not taken by Zhuang Xiaoran. This morning, someone inexplicably came to entrust me. But it has come to this. These things are not important for Tang Ka anymore. Tang Ka and the two of them walked into the mansion's reception room. The chairman was standing with his back to the door, looking out the window, with a bodyguard next to him. This person had red hair and was wearing a skull bull mask, giving off a feeling as if he often licked blood from the blade. The bodyguard knew that Tang Ka defeated Charging Wolf in just 5 seconds and wanted to try it out himself. After all, those two Charging Wolves were covered in scars from the injuries he had inflicted. And besides, he defeated them in just 2 seconds. At this moment, a fly flew over his head. A skeleton-headed bodyguard, with a sharp blade unsheathed. Where the swords passed, they left traces of shadows, shining like stars. In the blink of an eye, the blade has returned to its sheath, and the fly from earlier has been dissected meticulously like a skilled butcher working on an ox. I'm not sure if it's our blade that's fast or your fist that's fast. As soon as the words fell, the skull-headed bodyguard immediately swung towards Tang Ka. Before Tang Ka could react and defend himself, the bodyguard's move, soaring fish at dawn, had already enveloped Tang Ka with several slashing attacks. The bodyguard unexpectedly crashed through the glass like a bullet. He flew out of the window. The battle just now. The bodyguard's blade clearly struck Tang Ka, but he seemed unscathed. Tang Ka was still somewhat angry at this point, claiming that he despised impolite individuals the most and suddenly attacked. The chairman saw Tang Ka's impressive skills and couldn't help but applaud, stating that the Yogwai City Division's performance was outstanding and Tang Ka's reputation was well-deserved. You can instantly defeat my strongest bodyguard by my side. It seems that this order belongs to you, Tang Ka. The chairman continued to say that his son went missing in an ancient mansion. The Yogwai City Division investigated last night. They couldn't find any trace. But I firmly believe he is inside. If it's a Yogwai spirit haunting, even the Yogwai City Division wouldn't be able to detect it, then it must be very strong. So I earnestly ask for help to find my precious son. No matter how much it costs, it's fine. At this point, the chairman is already in tears, crying inconsolably. Tang Ka and the other person heard that he is very strong and has a considerable revenge, so they immediately became interested. They immediately took on this order and promised to help find the son. As soon as the voice fell, a child's figure appeared outside the door. It was the chairman's son, who had found his own way back. But at this moment, the child's eyes were dim and lifeless. There is a faint lingering shadow attached to his back, as if possessed. The little boy is missing 3 of his 3 souls, and 7 of his 7 spirits. He will die after midnight tonight. After the chairman's son returned, he became like a vegetable, with eyes wandering and a vacant expression. Zhuang Xiaoran clearly saw above the child. There is a shadow of a soul above, as if in great pain. Tang Ka couldn't help but admire the ocular arts of the person, indeed very powerful. The chairman is very worried at this moment, and hurriedly asked Tang Ka to save his precious son. In Tang Ka's view, the child in front of him is missing 7 souls from the 3 souls, commonly referred to as the loss of spirit. If the 7 souls are not recovered by midnight tonight, he will die. The chairman became even more anxious when he heard this, declaring that his son was his only beloved. His mother passed away early, and he was willing to spare no expense to save his son, even if it meant spending all his assets. At that moment, Zhuang Xiaoran suddenly discovered that there was something else in the right ear of the little boy in front of him, which was red. After hearing this, Tang Ka quickly came to the side of the little boy and formed hand seals. He used the Daoist invocation, spirit binding right. At this moment, something unknown slowly wriggled out from the boy's ear. The next second, that thing shot out suddenly. The tremendous force caused the floor to split. But after being slapped by Tang Ka, it fled far away. Tang Ka was slightly surprised that after being hit by himself, it could still escape smoothly. Tang Ka hastily followed closely behind and chased out. The thing unexpectedly fast speed let Tang Ka have interest. Just seen Tang Ka each time capture all be this little being perfect dodge, let before being hit out of the window bodyguard see some embarrassment. He thought this was a good opportunity to show off. Crescent Fong, Flying Fish Flash, he was ready to strike. Just when Tang Ka was chasing after the elusive little bean, a light screen formed in front of the black bean. The next second, the bodyguard's knife swiftly followed and cut off the fleeing little bean. He successfully regained some space in front of Tang Ka. He happily chattered away next to Tang Ka, claiming that his defeat upstairs was due to his carelessness. He then wanted to fight Tang Ka again, but Tang Ka ignored him. The green spirit aura just now seemed familiar. And at this moment, what he held in his hand was just an ordinary black bean. Tang Ka suddenly realized, could this be the bean casting incantation? This is indeed a spell from the hidden atelier of the Dao Fengxian faction. But weren't they exterminated long ago? At this time, on the rooftop of a building. The man had golden hair and blue eyes, holding a smoking pipe, exhaling smoke rings, leisurely enjoying tea and reading. He claimed that one of his beans had gone bad. If he could force out his own bean man, He should be from the same faction as Mount Mao. They may not be able to avoid meeting each other real soon. At the same time, the bodyguard, ignored by Tang Ka, took the initiative to lift his mask and declared that revealing his identity as a hired freelancer was a very dangerous thing to do. But you are qualified to see my true face. I am freelancer Tang Saber Chiozine. Did not expect, Tang Ka actually did not even look and went towards the door. He also did not forget to explain to Zhuang Xiaoran, claiming that people like Chiozine are awakened spirit aura practitioners, commonly known as superhumans. And everyone has spirit aura, and he promised to help Zhuang Xiaoran awaken her spirit aura in the future. And at this moment, there is a hint of loneliness in Tang Ka's heart. If it is really done by the Fanxian faction to bring shame to the sect, he will definitely not show mercy. At midnight, Tang Ka and the two of them arrived at Ink-Washing Manor. The reason they came at night is that this kind of expert in concealment only shows the most obvious Yogui aura at night. Zhuang Xiaoran looked at the gloomy ancient mansion in front of her. Suddenly, a voice sounded in her mind. "Don't go in! There are unclean things inside this ancient mansion. Tang Ka can't even leave." Whose voice echoed in Zhuang Xiaoran's mind. The voice warned her not to go in, and Zhuang Xiaoran couldn't help but feel scared. I don't know if the Yogui spirit inside myself is awakening again. In a moment of terror, a familiar scene appeared in my mind. Zhuang Xiaoran saw a wine barrel in front of him tied up with hemp rope. A figure slowly crawled out of the wine barrel. This person was the original dried corpse, but now he was slowly regaining flesh and blood. Only the face remains blurred. He moaned in pain. He didn't want to be locked up again. At this moment, he was skinny, weak, and helpless. Zhuang Xiaoran unknowingly shed tears at this moment and knelt down on the ground. She clearly felt the child deep in her consciousness. His fear, pain, and loneliness. Tang Ka said that this may be the fusion of memories of Humanoid Xiao. Occasional crossover is also normal. Zhuang Xiaoran wiped away tears and said that Humanoid Xiao also reminded her not to enter. And she didn't know if she was being influenced by it. Just standing at the door, she could feel an extremely strong sense of unease. Tang Ka now understood why when she caught people before, they always managed to escape in advance. It turned out that not only was ocular arts more powerful than herself, it also had super strong perception. Tang Ka was naturally not afraid of these dangers and confidently said, "With me around, what are you afraid of? Stand behind me when in danger." The magnificent figure reminded Zhuang Xiaoran of various past experiences once again. She couldn't help but feel a warm feeling surging from her heart. Tang Ka really made her feel secure. Following closely behind Tang Ka, she entered the ancient mansion. But just as she stepped into the ancient mansion, Zhuang Xiaoran instantly felt a chill down her back, as if someone was spying on her from the shadows. She clearly sensed that the atmosphere around her had suddenly changed. She quickly called Tang Ka, and they both went out together. Sure enough, as soon as they stepped out, the two of them seemed to have entered some kind of barrier. The ancient mansion was already floating in midair. Tang Ka realized that he had entered another space. Without saying a word, he immediately used a talisman to suppress himself, intending to destroy the barrier with brute force. The three piercing thunders shined brightly in the sky. The massive attack once again illuminated the sky, but it seemed to have hit cotton, with no response at all. This is still the first time Tang Ka's attack has failed. This made him feel a bit hurt in his self-esteem, so he angrily walked towards the ancient house. This Yogui spirit is called the Fallen Head Clan. It can extend its neck and arms. It could create multiple arms, itself not possessing any killing power, but releasing a fake powerful Yogui aura to scare away enemies Tang Ka and Zhuang Xiaoran. They enter the ink-washing manor, but cannot detect any spirit aura or Yogui aura here. It seems that there is a powerful individual lurking in this place. Just at that moment, a handful of wrinkles slowly reaches out from behind the two. The palm unknowingly arrives by Zhuang Xiaoran's side, without being noticed at all. So much so that this disgusting palm has already touched Zhuang Xiaoran's cheek. Zhuang Xiaoran was scared to the point of almost losing her soul. Just when Tang Ka looked at Zhuang Xiaoran, the same palm attacked Tang Ka. But unexpectedly, Tang Ka didn't even turn his head and steadily caught the attacking tentacle. At this moment, two hands slowly appeared in the mural, and the Yogwai spirit slowly emerged from the mural. And the spirit aura of this Yogwai spirit is 5 times that of Humanoid Xiao. Just as the tentacles swept past the two of them, Zhuang Xiaoran's cheek that was just touched also sprouted the same tentacles. The tentacles caught Tang Ka off guard and bound him up. In this situation, if Tang Ka violently breaks free, Zhuang Xiaoran may also die from excessive blood loss. Just when Tang Ka was feeling a little worried, the force of the tentacles suddenly increased. Tang Ka's cries of pain echoed throughout the entire ancient mansion. At a critical moment, Zhuang Xiaoran made up her mind. She grabbed the tentacles on her face. She forcibly pulled the tentacles off her face. Her rash act and sudden change in aura also shocked the Yogwai spirit. The next second, Zhuang Xiaoran's fist landed on the Yogwai spirit. The huge force made the Yogwai spirit retreat step by step. While Tang Ka was unconscious, Zhuang Xiaoran had to use the power of Humanoid Xiao to protect Tang Ka. Just at the crucial moment, when the tentacles of Yogwai spirit were attacking again, Zhuang Xiaoran's tail unexpectedly did not grow out. In front of him, Yogwai spirit is about to touch Zhuang Xiaoran again. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew from behind and tore apart the many tentacles of the Yogwai spirit alive. The attacker is none other than Tang Ka. And Tang Ka's fainting just now was fake, just to see how much strength Zhuang Xiaoran really has. The reason why Zhuang Xiaoran's tail did not come out to protect Tang Ka this time, Tang Ka also has made a preliminary judgment. Because the Yogwai spirit in front of us is not as powerful as expected. It is just releasing a fake Yogwai spirit to bluff. Presumably it should be the lowest level D-grade Yogwai spirit. Tang Ka stands on one foot, activates wind borrowing, and leaps into the air out of nowhere. He landed steadily in front of the Yogwai spirit, releasing his fierce gaze without reservation, and unleashing his spirit aura. I didn't expect that he could make the Yogwai spirit in front of him struggle to breathe just with his aura. He actually crushed the body of the Yogwai spirit. Underneath the facade of bluff and bluster was actually a character akin to a mere gatekeeper. Tang Ka led Zhuang Xiaoran to the second floor, feeling somewhat disappointed. But to their surprise, this Yogwai spirit was actually just playing dead. It took the opportunity to incite Tang Ka. He successfully dragged Zhuang Xiaoran into another space. As Zhuang Xiaoran is dragged into a different space, this chapter unfolds the tragic story slowly. As Zhuang Xiaoran just entered the different space, she felt like someone was staring at her. She searched around but found nothing. At this moment, in the dilapidated house, 2 children appeared, playing and laughing. Zhuang Xiaoran instinctively ran towards the 2 children, but they actually passed through the wall. Zhuang Xiaoran suddenly realized that these 2 children were ghosts, and a wave of fear surged through her. But then she realized that she herself was here to find the young master soul, right? Maybe there are some important clues behind this door? After some mental struggle, Zhuang Xiaoran gathered up her courage and pushed open the door. What greeted her eyes was a bedroom with a somewhat ancient atmosphere, but the ghost who had just come in was nowhere to be seen. Zhuang Xiaoran carefully observed the furnishings in the room. A jar caught her attention, and as she leaned in for a closer look, she was surprised to find a dog's corpse soaking inside. Shocked, Zhuang Xiaoran sat down on the floor. Just as she was curious about how there could be a dog's corpse, a faint smell of blood wafted over. When Zhuang Xiaoran turned around again, the bedroom was actually covered with bloodstains. At the same time, Tang Ka searched each room for Zhuang Xiaoran as if wandering through his own backyard. During the process, all the Yogwai spirits encountered were unlucky enough to be beaten up badly. Zhuang Xiaoran looked incredulous at this moment. The house was clean and tidy just a moment ago. How did it suddenly become filled with strange colors? And there was clearly a human-shaped outline on the bedsheet. Zhuang Xiaoran can not only see people's souls, but also faded bloodstains. And the family photo hanging above the head of the bed should be the homeowner's photo. The big and small figures in the photo should be the homeowner's wife and child. But this family portrait has been scratched. The shadow on the bed looks more like their child in terms of appearance. And there are traces of dragging in the bloodstains. Following the bloodstains, Zhuang Xiaoran arrived at another room. This room did not have a lot of bloodstains, only a pool of blood on the floor. It is very likely that the child was harmed in this room, then dragged to the bedroom and brutally murdered on the bed. If the weapon was a knife, there should have been many stabs. What kind of enemy would be so cruel to a child? Just as Zhuang Xiaoran was wondering, a notebook caught her attention. Inside should be the drawings of the little girl. The drawing shows the girl's father suddenly killing a dog and hitting the mother, and also depicts a key pointing to the dog. Zhuang Xiaoran is puzzled. What caused the homeowner to change their personality and kill their own dog? It's not possible for the child to have been killed by the father, right? Also, why would the keys be thrown into the dog's mouth? What secrets does the father have? Zhuang Xiaoran hurried back to the room she was in earlier and found a bloody knife. She resisted her fear and cut open the dog's body in the jar. Indeed, there was a key inside the dog's stomach. There was only one safe in the room that could be opened with the key. Zhuang Xiaoran cautiously opened it. Inside was a notebook full of violence, detailing the reasons for the father's crime. The notebook documents the father's complete madness. Today is the most painful day of his life. The family has fallen on hard times, and most of their belongings have been taken away. However, his wife, Li Mei, and beloved daughter, Moon, are his motivation to start over. But he discovered his wife's affair with a servant, plotting to harm him. This shadow grew stronger in the father's heart. He mercilessly killed his wife and daughter. Zhuang Xiaoran felt sick reading the father's confession. He couldn't help but suspect that this master was possessed. He killed his own wife and child in such a cruel manner. Just at this moment, a crack suddenly appeared in the bedroom closet door, and Zhuang Xiaoran had a sense of impending doom. But his own tail still did not come out. It seems that Zhuang Xiaoran can only deal with it himself. But on second thought, isn't everything going a bit too smoothly? From the beginning, the child's soul led Zhuang Xiaoran into the room, to discovering a series of clues. In the end, the cabinet suddenly opened. No matter how she looked at it, it seemed like she was being led by the nose. And she's not as invincible as Tang Ka. So, she absolutely cannot touch this cabinet in front of her. The most important thing now is to find Tang Ka and complete the mission together. In case she is deceived and caught by the Yogui spirit, not only will she be unable to help Tang Ka, but she will also become a hindrance to him. Just as Zhuang Xiaoran was struggling, a voice suddenly rang out. "Please save me!" Zhuang Xiaoran was terrified by this, and shivered with fear. Behind Zhuang Xiaoran, a little girl's ghost was floating in midair, and this ghost was none other than the child named Moon. Fortunately, this ghost harbors no ill intentions. Leading Zhuang Xiaoran over, she simply wants her to understand her story. Perhaps this way, Xiaoran can start believing what the ghost is saying. In return, Moon can tell Zhuang Xiaoran about the secret of this house. The little girl has already guessed that Xiaoran came for the boy in the hat as an exchange condition. As long as Zhuang Xiaoran tears off the strange paper on the corpse, she can tell the little brother where the 7 souls are. Zhuang Xiaoran opened the cabinet with half belief and half doubt. A mummified little girl suddenly appeared inside. From the diary entry earlier, no matter how you look at it, that mother doesn't seem like she would have an affair. The way that father treated his own daughter is simply inhumane. She looked at everything in front of her, and a memory suddenly appeared in Zhuang Xiaoran's mind, a sealed wooden tablet covered in seals, a large jar bound with coarse hemp rope. The wicked smiles on the faces of the people around made Zhuang Xiaoran furious at this moment. Humanoid Xiao has occupied her consciousness. See. In an instant, it grabbed and removed the talisman on the corpse's head. The soul of the little girl was relieved and saw my father. Tears of gratitude slid down the little girl's cheeks as she expressed her gratitude to Zhuang Xiaoran. But the current Zhuang Xiaoran is completely different from before. Fierce, wild madness fills her eyes, and her tailbone has grown out. I am not your sister. My name is Su Yeqiao, she said, waving her tailbone. Cut the girl's soul in half. It said harshly, I'd like to see who dares to do so, and then lock me up again. On this stormy night, with pouring rain and lightning, the servant put their own child into the ink-washing manor. The baby cried loudly, wrapped in a floral red cloth, its fragile body held within. The safety button at the waist carried the mother's hope. But just as the servant left, a group of crazy mice pounced on the little boy. At that moment, the young girl was cut in half by Su Yeqiao with a single move. At this moment, the young girl realized that the true monster in ink-washing manor wanted to keep Su Yeqiao inside Zhuang Xiaoran's body. Just then, a strong sense of oppression suddenly enveloped Su Yeqiao. The spatial connection that appeared out of nowhere grabbed the little girl and pulled her in. And this passage did not close, as if intentionally left for Su Yeqiao. At this time, Su Yeqiao was fearless, bringing a fierce momentum as she rushed into this space. And appearing in front of Su Yeqiao was a Yogwai spirit in the shape of a mouse. At this moment, it had already devoured the little girl's soul. Su Yeqiao confidently rushed towards the Yogwai spirit in front of her, thinking that she could easily deal with this little mouse in no time. But unexpectedly, within this space, the mouse Yogwai spirit could manipulate everything. Su Yeqiao saw it pinch its two fingers together. Su Yeqiao's right leg was completely broken. Intense pain radiated from the right leg. It fell heavily to the ground. The mouse Yogwai spirit claimed that as long as it enters my space, no matter how well you hide, I know what you are. It is said that eating the flesh of the humanoid Xiao can enhance one's Yogwai aura. But Su Yeqiao has not succumbed at this point. It uses its four proud eyes to scan the surroundings to see if there are any other Yogwai spirits. It claims, I could kill you with just one hand. But to his surprise, as soon as he spoke, that arm was also broken, and the painful screams echoed throughout the space. But the mouse spirit Yogwai is relentless and refuses to give up. It crushed Su Yeqiao's internal organs in one grip. A large mouthful of blood sprayed out from Su Yeqiao's mouth and splattered onto the body of the mouse Yogwai spirit. This also created an opportunity for Su Yeqiao, only to see Su Yeqiao wave a hand. The blood in the space gathers and compresses infinitely next to the rat Yogwai spirit. As Su Yeqiao clenched his fist, the mighty six-fold burr sweeps through the space. The intense explosion scattered the Yogwai spirit like a frightened mouse. The souls of the little girl and the chairman's son also floated out. Su Yeqiao sensed that the surrounding space had been unraveled, but the whole house was still within the barrier. But the little girl claimed to have seen its true form. It is a dark Yogwai that has devoured a baby and many rats at the same time. And the skeleton of that baby is on the third floor. Finding it might help completely eliminate this rat. Just as the words fell, the real form of Yogwai appeared again, starting to devour the souls in this room. At this moment, Su Yeqiao's body was already unable to move. It watched as the Yogwai spirit in front of it kept expanding. At this moment, the floor beneath the Yogwai spirit suddenly burst open. A huge explosion directly shattered the Yogwai spirit's body. Tang Ka jumped up from underneath. The suddenly emerged Tang Ka. He looked at the seriously injured Zhuang Xiaoran, and his face suddenly darkened. At this moment, the culprit also rushed towards Tang Ka with gnashing teeth and waving claws. But the skills that he was proud of just a second ago were not effective on Tang Ka at this moment. The strength that could crush limbs was unable to even shake Tang Ka's defense. Seeing Tang Ka showing no response, the Yogwai spirit in front of him panicked. And this sudden attack also struck a nerve with Tang Ka. Tang Ka activated the Thunder Talisman, and lightning crackled all around him. He pointed with one hand, sending a compressed infinite thunderball blasting towards the Yogwai spirit. Severing thunder, sigil cage the lightning-formed light barrier instantly enveloped the Yogwai spirit. This light barrier will restrict the Yogwai spirit from moving, constantly being burned by lightning for 5 minutes, during which Tang Ka is about to clean up the humanoid Xiao in front of him. What baffles Tang Ka is that he has clearly sealed the consciousness of humanoid Xiao. How did it manage to come out so quickly? But Su Yeqiao claims that now is not the time to discuss this. The Yogwai spirit behind you cannot be killed. If you want to get out of here, you must find its host body. It's best to hurry, as it is invincible here. However, Tang Ka does not believe in the Yogwai spirit before him that has killed hundreds of people. He said that there is no such thing as 100% invincibility in this world. Even if there is, it can only be me, Tang Ka. Suddenly, Zhuang Xiaoran's voice rang out, and she also agreed with Su Yeqiao's statement. Once the Yogwai spirit's body is restored, even for just 1 second, it will surely escape, and then use spatial magic to separate you and me. At that time, even if you are strong, you won't be able to deal with it. Tang Ka now understands the seriousness of the situation, and quickly opens the golden nether eye to observe the surroundings. At this moment, with Tang Ka at the center, all floors are clear as day. In an instant, he finds the true form of the Yogwai spirit. When borrowing activated, Tang Ka flashed and jumped to the top floor. At this moment, Su Yeqiao's voice echoed in Zhuang Xiaoran's mind, expressing deep gratitude to Zhuang Xiaoran. Tang Ka rushed to the rooftop, and at a glance saw the corpse of the baby. The floral quilt cover was already torn and tattered. Among the stark white bones, the peace button still stood out prominently. At this moment, the trapped Yogwai spirit also began to disperse. This Yogwai spirit never imagined that the person, he thought, was a young Taoist was so powerful. As the faint glow dissipated, the soul of the baby appeared. Its greatest desire was to see its mother. This tragic story came to an end amid the cries of the baby's hooves. The truth of the story also surfaced. On a rainy night, the servant sent his own son into Inkwashing Manor. He did it to threaten his wife not to report to the officials, and expose these despicable acts he had done at Inkwashing Manor. The old master's family of 3 at Inkwashing Manor have no relatives. The house servant came up with the idea himself. He wrote a fake letter to make the master mistakenly believe that his wife, Li Mei, was having an affair. He also went to the old witch's house in the town, got an incense burner, and placed it in the ancient mansion. It was this incense burner that brought the Yogwai spirit, which can parasitize the human body, into the house, infecting Moon's father, the master of Inkwashing Manor. He became possessed. The Yogwai spirit made Moon's father suspicious and paranoid, especially after coincidentally discovering a fake letter indicating an affair between the servant and his wife. He was consumed by anger and lost his sanity, first killing the stray dog picked up by the steward, then brutally murdering his wife and daughter, and burning the body of his wife, Li Mei. He drained the blood of his daughter, Moon, and used a talisman obtained from the witch at the foot of the mountain to trap Moon's soul, preventing her from reincarnating and ascending to heaven. And he eventually committed suicide. Over time, resentment grew in Moon's heart. But just as Moon was on the verge of exploding, she saw the darkness of human nature and the ugliness of the world. She witnessed the servants and his wife arguing over their own despicable actions. She saw the servants spewing lies without hesitation in order to achieve their goals. She saw the housemaid, in a lucid state, personally kill her own wife. Since then, Moon decided to suppress the urge to kill within her. After the housekeeper killed his wife and entered Inkwashing Manor, he fell into the mouth of the Yogwai spirit, torn into pieces. The worldly desires and angers, accumulating grudges and worries, often harm oneself and others. In this absurd and tragic incident, the two children are the ones who are most deeply hurt. At the end of the story, Moon embraces the young boy tenderly. She offered forgiveness and solace. Both of them found relief, hoping that in some place in the sky, they could meet the people they longed to see. The barrier of ink-washing manner has been completely opened, and Tang Ka successfully retrieved the soul of the chairman's son. After the two of them successfully completed the task, they reported back to the chairman. A new task is about to begin. In the early years, humans developed various supernatural abilities to combat the appearance of yaoguai spirits. Over time, these individuals established different sects. So it can be said that within the hidden atelier, each person possesses their unique skills. Among them, the most famous 5 hidden ateliers are the hidden atelier of the Dao, the hidden atelier of the shamanism, the hidden atelier of the manifestation, the hidden atelier of the scene, the hidden atelier of the Moism. Among them, the hidden atelier of the Dao is the most powerful and also the most special faction, because it branches out into the Mao faction and the Fanxian faction. The Mao faction excels in close combat tactics and auxiliary tools. The most powerful technique is cultivating the wind, thunder, flame, and metal elements through spirit aura to enhance one's own combat ability. The Fanxian faction focuses on astrology, divination, body cultivation, and elixir refining, pursuing knowledge and scholarship, and rarely participating in spiritual activities. It is unknown why the Fanxian faction, which has always refrained from spiritual matters, became involved in political affairs and served as counselors to successive monarchs. However, their newfound power and prestige did not last long. A large-scale war between humans and yaoguai spirits, known as the Battle of Julu Gate, erupted. The hidden atelier struggled to resist the continuous onslaught of yaoguai spirits attacking the city. At the critical moment, all members of the Fanxian faction mobilized. It was in this battle that the Fanxian faction suffered a tragic extinction. This statement is identical to the record in the yaoguai city division. Since the Fanxian faction, they had already been wiped out. What about the black bean man hidden in the ears of the chairman's son? Tang Ka then stated that the black bean man was a unique secret technique of Fanxian called bean casting incantation, which involved transforming plants into spirits. It requires a high cultivation level from Fanxian occultists to generate. This technique has never been passed down, so there must be surviving Fanxian occultists. And the role of this black bean man is to investigate the enemy's situation. And for the chairman, it may be to monitor himself for business rivals, although Tang Ka is not interested in competing with the chairman in business. But after all, this Fanxian occultist is considered to be a fellow member, and can also perform powerful secret arts like bean casting incantation. He is doing such despicable things. Tang Ka must find a way to expose him. After saying that, he held Zhuang Xiaoran and left the villa. At this moment, Xiaozin finally realized that there is always someone better, and there are greater heights to reach. It seems that he also needs to intensify his training, otherwise, he will truly become a frog at the bottom of a well. He then decided immediately to stop working as a bodyguard. He wants to become a member of the yaoguai city division. At midnight, a hired assassin named Jin Yi's walked along the road. This time, the task he received was extraordinary. This freelancer, known as Jin Yi's, once single-handedly took down an entire terrorist organization with just one bullet, leaving no trace behind. Today marks his 112th mission, and he has never failed a mission before. For an assassin, the most crucial aspect of successfully completing a task is intelligence. This assignment poses a significant challenge for Jin Yi's. The intelligence on the other side is almost non-existent, which made Jin Yi slightly worried. He looked up at the moon in the sky to keep himself calm, then skillfully drew his pistol from his sleeve. He fired a bullet infused with spirit aura. The bullet with a long fuse trailed straight toward the rooftop. In the instant it reached the rooftop, it split into 3 like steel claws, firmly embedded into the ground. Jin Yi's agilely flipped onto the rooftop, took out his never-failing sniper rifle. He gazed from a distance at the man living at the top of the pyramid, Jin Yi's. He had been observing him for over a month. The man's behavior really puzzled him. This man was like a mystery. Besides shuttling between home and Power Crane Corporation, he had no extra social interactions. Besides reading, he had no other interests or hobbies. He didn't even use any electronic devices, not even a phone, which was the most difficult thing to understand. This person only sleeps for 1 hour a day. This person is none other than Fanshan occultist, who controls Black Bean Man. The minute hand clicked. The target person glanced at the clock on the wall. The time has come to 1:20 in the morning. He calmly took a deep drag of his cigarette. The killer's intuition told Jin Yi's that the man seemed to be aware of his presence. But tonight, he also had to act. Jin Yi's found the right moment and pulled the trigger. A bullet filled with spirit aura burst out with a loud bang and shot rapidly towards the target. The target person calmly blew out a puff of smoke. Unexpectedly, just as the bullet pierced through the smoke, the bullet unexpectedly disintegrated and dissipated rapidly, disappearing completely in front of the target individual. Jin Yi's encountered this situation for the first time, looking incredulous. The target person, wearing a friendly expression, was greeting Jin Yi's. Jin Yi's was sure that the person across from him had noticed him, just as he was about to flee. Jin Yi's felt a chill down his spine. A pair of eyes were fixed on him. The assassin was being monitored during his mission, and the one surveilling him turned out to be Red Bean. Jin Yi's suddenly realized that he had a chilling sensation down his spine. He quickly pulled out a pistol from his sleeve and reacted as fast as possible, turning around and raising his gun. Behind him, there were dozens of red beans flapping their little wings in the air. When Jin Yi's approached, he didn't notice at all. It was only at this moment that he realized, could it be that so many red bean men had been hiding in the dark, waiting for his arrival? With their large numbers, it didn't seem like they were just monitoring him. If they wanted to attack him, they would have done so already. In a situation where the opponent's intentions were not yet clear, as an assassin, he must strike first. Jin Yi's quickly fired 3 bullets from his pistol. From his observation, the target was too small, their wing flapping frequency was high, and their speed must be extremely fast. He used bullets to directly attack. The hit rate was definitely low. So Jin Yi's wanted to first restrict their movement trajectory. This move was Jin Yi's trajectory bind. With 3 bullets as the vertices, it formed a net resembling a triangle. The net enveloped Red Bean Man, but unexpectedly, Red Bean Man's speed was much faster than imagined. Just as the bullet shells landed, Red Bean Man had already arrived by Jin Yi's side, like a hornet stinging an eye or a locust burrowing into the body, instantly leaving Jin Yi's covered in wounds. Falling downstairs, Jin Yi still hadn't figured it out. The object in front of him was actually faster than his own bullets. But the other party did not put him in a deadly situation, just a simple scratch. Is this mocking himself? Just then, the voice of the target person sounded in his ear. Go home and rest for a few days. Let me pass on a message to your boss for you. If there is any further harassment, I will personally go to find him.